Welcome back to Backlog Banner. I'm Timo. I'm joined here by Tucker, Tanner, and Abram. Today we're talking about that new Dune trailer that dropped yesterday. I've got some things to say, and I think the boys have other things to say about it. I'll start. I really liked it. I'll just lay it out there. I loved it. That was a great trailer. I'm really hyped. I'm more hyped than I was after the first cast intro photos came out, a couple months ago. It looks so good. It looks so much fun. But we're not unanimous in this opinion. So there might be some controversy.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tucker and I we watched it together. We basically have the same opinion, is that it looks fine. Trailer wasn't great, but the movie itself, I guess, is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, could be. Totally. I just think it was a little bit, and honestly, this is probably to match the tone of the book or what people expect the visuals to be, but it was just visually pretty bland, crap-ass color palette, not fantastic. I don't think the trailer was fantastically edited. It just kind of seemed mundane, kind of things I'd seen this kind of thing before, and it didn't get me interested, honestly. It really did not. I was more interested for this movie when it was this idea that there was going to be a big cast in a Dune movie that was coming out than when I actually saw the trailer.
I agree. I agree with that.
Here's the thing. Daddy Dennis is perhaps one of the most cerebral, interesting filmmakers working right now. Arrival, Sicario, Blade Runner, Prisoners. One thing he's proven to me is how to make a cerebral, high-concept, interesting film. And for me, that's what I saw. I saw beats of his direction style, and I saw really high-concept production and really interesting things that spoke to me as a fan of sci-fi, that spoke to me as a fan of Daddy Dennis. Really, everything about this movie is speaking to me. I'm tremendously excited, even though I've never read Dune.
So I think I'm the only one who's read Dune here. And I thought the trailer was super interesting because there's so many great moments from the book where I was like, oh yeah. I mean, they got the Gom Jabbar with the pain. What's inside the box? Pain. And then he screams and it's like, yeah. I think the trailer you talked about the editing. I thought it was very interesting in that it was it felt chronological to me. The trailer was put together in the same order that the movie will go because I already know the plot of it, I think. I think, and that the end of the movie is going to be similar to what the end of the trailer is like. Especially, yeah,
Worm.
So,
that was the one moment of the trailer where the two of us finally got interested.
We raised our fists in glory, in glorious gratitude of Sandworm.
Well, of course, Legendary, the studio that brings you CGI monsters in every movie, it's got to have the CGI monster in their trailer, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The worm is cool, but I don't think that's what I watch a Denis Villeneuve film for. He really succeeds in the smaller moments. He evokes tension. He creates great character moments. He works in the practical. And so for me, those are the scenes that spoke to me. I thought the sandworm was interesting visually. I thought there's a lot of interesting visuals, but for me, it's about the way he directs.
It's the mainstream pull for the movie, definitely. But what's going to make the movie really great is where those smaller moments, as well as I think Dune has some awesome set pieces. Some crazy stuff happens in the book. And I think that knowing his directorial prowess, Dennis is going to blow some of these moments out of the water.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm talking about the fact that I'm personally not very excited for the movie. I don't think that the trailer helped me get excited, but I do have confidence in this director. I like all of his movies that I've seen, and I do think that he could do a fantastically great job. But we're talking about this trailer, and the trailer didn't do anything for me. As someone who knows nothing about the book, who knows nothing about the context of it, I can't connect to the scenes on that level, and I can't really tell what's going to be great character moments or not because I don't know who the characters are. I don't know what their situation is. And this trailer didn't really sell me on any of the characters. It kind of just showed me people. They didn't really have any overt personalities from what I saw. And it was just, I don't know, it just seemed kind of bland. I'm sure in context of the movie, it will be fine.
Here's what it said to me. What it showed to me was these incredible actors who I think will portray these characters very well and put them in the context of very visually interesting set design. With a really strong aesthetic cohesion. The movie seems dark, it seems cerebral, it seems foreboding, and it's placing these incredible actors in the context of that. And for me, all I need a trailer to do is excite me on the premise and show to me the mood of the film, the aesthetic of the film. I'm watching it for the story. I'm watching it for the set pieces. I'm not watching the trailer for that. The trailer is to get me into the theater so I experience those firsthand. What the trailer did for me was sell me on the fact that this is, by the way, I know his name is fucking Denis. I know he's French, but Daddy Dennis, he sold me again on the concept that he's creating a world that's very rich with character and with heart and with a unique aesthetic. And I think that's what's most important about his work and about this trailer.
You mentioned that you thought the trailer's look was foreboding, and I think Tucker, you're like, oh, it's got a stupid color palette. I think the color palette, in being so like dark and grim, works really well because in the large majority, the first half of the book of Dune, it tells you what's going to happen. It actually just says this is what's going to happen as like a prophecy, and then you read the book going, oh, is it or isn't it going to happen? And so the trailer for me sort of acts like that in like it like gives you little bits of like the prophecy of what Paul Atreides is going to become. It talks about it, you know, some of the lines from it when the prime mother or whatever her character's name is, I forget, is like, your father is losing his planet, and then Paul's like, he's getting a richer one, and he's like, he'll lose that one too. I think that's like really interesting, and it fits so well tonally with how the book is written, which is something that is really hard to translate into a movie, no less a trailer.
Yeah, and honestly, hearing both of you talk about it, and you know, Abram and your third use of the word cerebral to refer to this, and the big brain words that you're using, I'm gonna go back and rewatch this trailer once we're done with this recording, because I didn't get any of those vibes. I didn't get any of the character moments or the whatever, you know, other big brain things you were referring to. But honestly, obviously, that's just the different ways that we viewed the trailer and what we're looking for to get out of a trailer. And I am not someone who reads a lot of books. See, I've got a book here. All right, I've got an Overwatch novel. All right, look at this. I've been trying to read this thing for about 2 months.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
And I just don't care. Reading is not my forte unless it's comic books. And Dune is, I have no interest in reading the book. So hopefully the movie is what draws me into the world.
See, hearing these two talk about the film, first of all, has made me more excited than when I initially watched the trailer. But also, watching the trailer initially, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna brush up on my Dune knowledge, on the lore. I'm gonna listen to the book first of all.
Dune lore.
I don't know how to read, so I'm gonna listen to an audiobook version, and I'm also gonna watch David Lynch's version all before this comes out. I want to brush up. I want to be knowledgeable enough to know how great this movie is.
I mean, truly, you should read ahead in the series because this is only these two movies only encompass the first book, of which there are 6 or 7.
There are several books.
There are 7.
Aware. No one ever told me that.
There are 7 Dune books. Yeah,
They're fat books.
They're fat. I
God.
didn't find my copy of Dune. I think it's upstairs, but I did find a book of similar size.
Oh, I see.
So-
Yeah, see, look, this has taken me about 2 months to try to get through, and probably about a third because I just don't care.
I'll tell you, Dune as a book is like a super great, enjoyable read. I mean, you just like, it just sucks you right in and you just read it, and it's not written like any modern literature. It's just like, it's very weird, but it totally works. And you mentioned it being like kind of generic. The thing with Dune is that it's generic because it is the genre defining work. It is like the core work of sci-fi. And so to like see all these elements of sci-fi being like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. Well, like, yeah, you've seen it before because those things copied it from Dune in the writing. Sure. And so like the spaceships and the soldiers and like all that kind of stuff. But Dune it's just different. The spaceships are all weird and there's like a lot of mysticism around them. There's the ornithopters in the trailer, like the winged ships that fly around that are, you know, that was an idea in the 50s that they were like, oh yeah, we can have the winged ships, but they don't have those, like that. They stopped thinking about that in the 60s. So to have those elements like shown in the trailer, to be like, yeah, this is sci-fi, but this is sci-fi from a different era, yet it's still presented in the modern sense.
Sure, yeah.
A different era.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, and if you look at the fucking tapestry on my wall, I really like sci-fi from that era. I love Blade Runner, so I got hints of that and notes of that thematically and visually from the Dune trailer, which spoke to me a lot. And like I said earlier, I haven't read Dune. I'm planning on reading Dune before the movie comes out, especially since it's probably gonna get pushed to 2021 if the rumors are to be believed. I think I'm gonna have the time, but just on a lot of different levels, this spoke to me.
What I was going to ask, I was going to pose a question to the group here that's less about the intricacies of Dune lore and more about the film itself. Regardless of a pandemic, let's say we're out of it by the time that comes around. Hypothetically, would this make money? Is this what audiences want to see?
I think I think that's a good question because we know the story of Blade Runner 2049. It didn't make any
Yes.
money,
Yes.
and yet I think it is a great movie. So I think something very similar could happen. But some freaking studio is like, you know what, Dennis, you can make your movie. Like, we don't care. Like, you can lose a bunch of money. You can make not just your one movie. You can make two movies out of this. They signed on. They're gonna make two movies out of this
That
Dune movie.
wow. Okay. Interesting.
This first movie is only the first part. It's a 2-part series, which will be interesting to see how they split it up. I think they'll make it work. It's gonna be fine. But the I don't know, when you read Dune, you'll find that it's not like some of those core content of it isn't really based in Western ideas. Like the whole bunch about religion in the book is about like Islam. It's not about Christianity or like these traditional Western ideas that and like thoughts and principles that feed into pop culture. Like, I did notice in the trailer they switched out crusade. In the book it's jihad all the way.
Oh.
And they said crusade in the trailer. I think that's a very interesting choice to make to I don't know, to lessen that people are scared by jihad. And so as a commercial choice, I can tell they want to appeal to as many people as possible. And the big name cast is going to help. Timothy Chalamet, Jason Momoa, Oscar Isaac, just to name a few. I mean, this cast is stacked. Like Skarsgård, Josh
Zendaya.
Brolin. It's like, yeah, Zendaya. Like, I think those names are going to bring in a lot of people. So it has the potential to get a lot of money. But I feel like those people who just go to see the movie because of the names might find themselves confronted with something they didn't expect at all.
I don't think the film is going to do especially well just because, I mean, Harrison Ford, Ryan Gosling, those are big names. Blade Runner is an established film property. I fucking love 2049. I saw it on a huge screen. I had a great time. But the audiences are looking for a blockbuster more akin to what Disney puts out than this.
We'll see
And
how long it is. I think runtime is really important. So the Lynch
Mhm.
film is really long, the Lynch Dune. But because they're splitting it up, they have the opportunity to not make a 3.5-hour movie out of this, which could bring in people. I remember a lot of the criticism around 2049 was like, yeah, I actually don't want to spend my whole afternoon in the theater watching it. I mean, like I did because I love Blade Runner. But the general public is often like swayed and is like I'm not watching a 3.5-hour movie. So I highly doubt it'll be under
Unless it's
2 hours.
Endgame.
Yeah,
Unless it's
well,
Endgame.
that's a different deal.
I still want Jodorowsky's 14-hour cut of Dune that will never see.
I'm thinking about also watching the that documentary about his almost Dune film. I'm thinking about watching that before this one comes out as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We got a whole bunch of content to watch and then discuss.
We should do a Lynch Dune review.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
definitely should. I think that's a good backlog banter episode.
I in my readings about it, I've only seen bits and pieces. Is flawed but good. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
It's not long enough.
I have heard actually really bad things about it.
I think there's a possibility for diverse opinions on David Lynch movie.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Elaborate on that. No.
The fact that Lynch is a controversial director, yeah, that's just a fact of nature.
Fact of nature.
Okay, well, I think we're just about wrapped up. What are the two of you want to end this on an impassioned rant about why you enjoyed it so much, or are we running out of steam?
I've been impassionedly ranting this whole time, but I'll end it with that. The trailer gives me a lot of hope for how the movie looks. Some of the smaller stuff, like the characters wear these shield belts. I thought the shield belt graphics, the visuals on those were super cool.
The graphics. It's got the best graphics. Next gen graphics.
Next gen movie graphics. I think, of course, the worm is great. I love the worm. There's no doubt about that being in the first trailer, though. We knew it. And I think I'm I have overall high confidence that that story will be truthful. Dennis will not take leaps and bounds and make things up that wasn't there. And the stuff that he has to eliminate because of time will be less necessary than the stuff that he decides to include.
All I want to say is I love high concept sci-fi films. I wish we got more of them. And to have a director this talented put this film together with this cast, I think it's going to be really special. I don't really care how it does commercially. I don't really care what people think of it. I just want to get this film in front of my eyeballs because I am very, very excited. Oops.
Exactly.
Push to talk works 85% of the time.
And on that note, I think we're just about done. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Look, we've got a whole crew together this time. Took us a while to do this one. We've been all around and all over the place, but we finally got together, and I'm more excited now than I was at the beginning of the discussion, if that's saying anything.
Then we've mission accomplished.
Abram and Timo are both on the Dune marketing team. This is a job until December.
This has been episode 1 of the Dune Goon.
The Dune
Dune Goons.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, guys.
Peace.
Abram, I was waiting for you to say, "Don't forget me."
Oh, I forgot.
Clearly.
Forgot myself this time. Intentionally, I'm going to have to ride the Zoom because of background noise. Ride the mute button.